Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first conversation of the 19th edition of Marrakesh International Film Festival. And what a conversation. This conversation is with an actor, versatile actor, with a superstar. He played with a lot of the best directors, I mean. He's the kind of actor, actually, that you would go and see in every movie just to witness the powerful performance that he delivers. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. RANVEER SINGH! How are you? It's so nice to have you here.
I feel on top of the world.
Stanislavski once said that in the language of an actor, to know is synonymous of to feel. And I think you're this kind of actor that feels every single feeling in front of a camera and delivers everything. So thank you for that.
Thank you, man. And I try and connect with energies, you know. And I must say the energy in this room this afternoon is fantastic. Thank you all for coming. Gosh, all I see is beautiful, smiling faces. I feel blessed in this moment. I'm really glad to be here, and I hope that I can make this a session enriching for you all. Hi, and welcome.
For sure, for sure. So before starting, let's talk about yesterday and about this amazing energy. How did you feel? Congratulations for the tribute.
Thank you.
How do you feel? I mean, all this love of people that are from your country, far from your culture, far from your language, but still gets everything you deliver, love your movies, love the way you talk about stories. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Can we swap places?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm looking at this screen where I want to look at everybody. Hi. I want to have... My apologies, ma'am.
No,
You okay there? Aha. This is much better. Man, yesterday was a life moment for me. I was overwhelmed to see the love and warmth and welcoming nature of the Moroccan people. Melita, my dear friend, was always telling me, you know, Moroccan people love Indian movies. You got to come and experience it for yourself. And being there yesterday, experiencing that love, I was ecstatic. And then to be honored on such a grand stage with some of the finest cinematic talents in the world, it's a huge honor for me. My mother got very emotional, and my entire family got very emotional. It was lovely to read their messages and the way they were expressing about what they felt, about what they saw. But for me, it was like magic, you know. It's I think, like I said yesterday, testament to the power of cinema, you know. It has the power to transcend cultures and geographies and bring people together as humans. I think it's the most beautiful thing.
It is. And I said before that you're the kind of...
May I just point out on the same note, when I was at the square, and this I did not expect at all, there were all these young kids, and they were doing my signature move to me. Yeah, they were doing ta-tar, 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 ta-tar. I was like, yeah, they kept doing that, like, It was fabulous. I'm still reeling from the euphoria of last night. I'm honestly overwhelmed with this feeling of gratitude. I'm so blessed. You know, I get to do what I love to do for a living. I believe in this concept that we have in Hinduism called the Kali Yuga. And what it basically means is that in the chronology of human existence, of humanity, the Kali Yuga is the darkest period in the life cycle. So you have the life cycle, and then there comes along the Kali Yuga, which is a very dark period. Now, I know it's a very cynical worldview, but I don't even believe it's the Kalyug. I believe it's the Ghor Kalyug, which is the darkest part of the darkest part. Uh, hey, I've got. Don't be fooled by my light demeanor. I'm a very dark person. Everybody has a dark side. You know, I'm very much in touch and very aware that I have one too. And it's this period where now I look around the world around me, like you see what we're doing to each other, to the environment, is so much pain and suffering. I can't but help think that this is the Ghor Kali and that we are all on this journey of life. And it's an arduous journey. We know the destination. We know death is inevitable. And it's really about the journey. And it's a tough journey. Everybody you see, everybody in this room today, everybody is fighting some battle. Everybody is suffering in some way. And suffering is like, it's a given. It's within that suffering, in the journey of life, that you try and find and seek out some joy. You know, but suffering, like everybody here has some problem, some kind of suffering, every single person. And I feel like as an entertainer, the best thing I can do is lighten this burden of this agonizing existence. You know, it's just agonizing to exist in the world today. What is the best thing I can do with my skills, my intention? It's just lighten everybody's burden. It's like, we're on this journey of life. The path is rocky, it's hot, it's beating down on us. And I wish to be that guy who distracts you from how difficult it is. Come, I'll tell you a story, or I'll do you a dance, or I'll do something that distracts you momentarily from everything that's happening. So I believe that my calling is to entertain people.
It's generous, but yeah. But my obvious question is, who lights you? What about your suffering?
I think my mother is a very spiritual person, and I believe that she has some kind of cosmic connection. You know, her communication with the divine energies is an open channel, and she, I believe, transmits good energy to me. And I'm just a channel of distribution. You know, she gives me good energy, and I just pay that forward to people. So it's really, I'm a complete mama's boy, and yeah, I believe I receive good and positive energy from her that I just pay forward to people.
Wow.
She takes care of me.
And you take care of people. Thank you for that. I said before that you're the kind of actor that people would go and see in any movie, even if the film they wouldn't be interested in, because you have this ability to take the part or the story somewhere we never expected. So what interests you in your work? Is it the script? Is it the story? Is it the character? Is it the director?
I really believe cinema, films, are completely a director's medium, you know. The actors are just tools. You know, this canvas, the painting, the vision belongs to the director. You can only contribute in your capacity as an actor. You're one of many things that the director uses to realize this vision. So I submit completely to the filmmaker. And as such, the material, the character is all important, but I would also say, who is this person who is going to put this vision together? I put my faith in the director, and once I commit, then I'm completely theirs. I submit to the director, the filmmaker's vision completely.
Perfect. So let's start with the beginning, with your first movie, Van Baja Barat.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to say a scene, and we're going to talk about
Okay.
it. Yes.
Don't you just love Hindi movies? Don't you just love Bollywood movies? Just look at that. Wow, you know, it's now that I'm viewing this in this context that I realize, look at this color, this vibrancy, this joie de vivre, as they say.
Yes.
You know,
Do you
it's
remember?
just bursting and teeming with feeling. Gosh, I'm too blessed. I love Hindi movies. You love Hindi movies.
Do you
I
remember
love
all the choreographies?
And the song and dance.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite part about Hindi movies.
And are you still the same actor that
Not
this
at all,
young man?
ma'am.
What has changed?
That's baby me. That's
What?
fetus me.
What has changed?
I didn't know anything. at the time. It's like hitting the ground running and not knowing anything. It's like do or die, sink or swim. You have somehow miraculously landed yourself this one opportunity to be a mainstream actor in Bollywood films, which in a I was an outsider, so somebody in my position, it was too far fetched. It's unthinkable, you know. So uh, the universe, the way it concocted one after the other, the littlest of things started falling into place for me to actually get this opportunity. It was incredible that it actually happened. And I had to hit the ground running. I didn't know anything. My co actor, the beautiful Anushka Sharma, applause. I miss her in the movies. I hope that she does more films and more roles. I've done 3 movies with her. Wonderful actor and very generous, very kind actor. She had done a whole feature film before me. She was launched with the one and only Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. Yes. Look at just see how much love Mr. Khan commands over here. I didn't even have to say it. She was launched with, and I saw nodding heads. Shah Rukh Khan, Shah Rukh Khan. Uh, yes, she was launched with Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, as was my beautiful wife, Deepika, who has completed 15 years in the movies just yesterday.
Wow.
And she was very kind, very generous. She held my hand through that entire process. I was so basic that we were in a talkie scene, I think maybe perhaps on the first day, and there was a boom mic, and the person was standing here and he was holding the boom. And I'm looking at Anushka, I'm like, is this guy gonna stand here like this? And she's like, you know our dialogues? How do you think they're gonna get recorded? Yes, he's going to stand there and record the dialogues that you and I are gonna say to each other. I didn't even know that much. I remember the same day landing up on the first day, and you can imagine my excitement, my first day, and I land up and I'm like, well, I'm here. So what do we do? What's next? They were like, sir, you can go and wait in your vanity van. It's another term for trailer. You can go wait in your vanity van, and we'll call you. So I was like, okay, vanity van, wait, okay, cool. I went, I literally entered the van and I was sitting like this. I was just full of wonderment. I didn't know anything about the process. I learned as I went along. Um, Even when I see this movie now, I don't really know how I pulled it off
Wow.
with that lack of any kind of experience whatsoever. I think it had to do with that attitude. I had struggled for so long to try and get a break that when I finally got it, and I got it at a very on a grand stage. I was the first hero to ever be launched. Hero, because in India we don't say actor, you say hero. So I was the first male leading man to be launched by Yash Raj Films, one of the premier production houses, studios in India. And it was the first time they had launched a new face for the first time in their 35-year history at the time. So it was a big deal. Um, and it was like, you know how Eminem says, you got one shot, one opportunity. Would you capture or just let it slip? You know it. Knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he look calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd, oh so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come. Look at you.
Gully boy. You're a gully boy. But you
So
were, yeah.
basically, it was like, bro, you got this one chance. The portal is open. Either you walk through it now or you can go back to your old life. One of the one of the greatest moments of my life that I'll never forget. The Saturday of release, I got a call from Mr. Shah Rukh Khan to congratulate me on my performance in my first movie. Can you imagine what it meant to me? My screen idol actually taking the time and effort to give me a pat on the back and said, "Hey kid, you did well. Go on." And that's the charm and generosity of the man. So, no, I am not the same actor. I am not the same person. I don't know who that is, but he seems cute. Ever since I started understanding the world around me, I was yay high, and the only thing I ever wanted to do was become an actor. But at at the time, the when I was in about 10th grade, and all throughout school, I was in theater and dramatics, and I knew that I enjoyed doing this. I knew I was good at it. My teachers were always telling me, you really got a knack for this. But it was very far-fetched for somebody in my position to think that you can be a movie star. You know, especially in India, for a long time, it was quite an insulated industry. If you wanted a prime opportunity to become an actor and you wanted to be in front of the camera, you had to have some kind of lineage. You know, things are changing now. I'm very proud to say that they changed after, Yashraj launched me. The trend changed. Things became more merit-based. But there was a time where your father had to be a producer, director, or actor for you to get one of those prime opportunities. Um, I don't like the word, but there's this great debate going on for a few years now, especially back home in India, about nepotism. So my chances were bleak, but so I kind of gave up on my dream. I only ever wanted to be an actor. But in 10th grade, they were like, man, what are your chances really? Are you going to be able to make it? Probably not. So maybe you should try and pursue something that seems within your reach, within your grasp. So I tried to become a copywriter. I was like, this is something I enjoy too. So from the ages of 15 to 19, I pursued trying to become a writer. I I was in university at age 19, and by chance I got into an acting class. And on the first day, they made us perform a scene, and I heard the applause of the audience. After like 3 or 4 years, I went back to my seat. I was like, man, this was magical. I went up on the stage and I expressed myself, and I was able to evoke an emotion out of an audience. This is what I love to do. This is my calling. So I called my dad and I said, I want to switch tracks. I want to try and become a Hindi film actor. And all credit to my parents, they were very supportive. They said, Beta, son, do what is in your heart. If your heart is in it, you'll do well. You know, don't we don't want you to do something that you're not happy doing. So if your heart is in it, do it. Finish your education, try and come back and take your chances, you know. So finished my degree, came back to Bombay, and I was like, well, now I'm here, and how am I going to do this? And then that period was about 3.5 years. I didn't know what the roadmap was. It was like groping in the dark, you know, just flapping your hands and legs and trying to catch on to something, some kind of lead. I joined theater groups. I became an assistant director. I was basically doing various things within the gamut of the Bombay film industry to find some kind of lead, because I had no guidance either. I had to figure it out for myself. And those 3.5 years, the positive part was, being an assistant director, you meet actors, casting directors, producers, you get a little bit of network, you know. So I would then find out about auditions, etc. And I'd go for those auditions and I'd smash each and every one of them. Yeah, and that validation is important, because sometimes you're just at home staring at the ceiling, you're like wondering, is it ever going to happen for me? But then and the recession was going on at that time, you know, 2007 to 2009, lesser films were being made, and most certainly nobody was putting money behind a new face. So the opportunities were very few. So every few weeks when that call would come for an audition, I'd go and I'd land the part, and then I'd turn it down. So everybody would get mad at me. They're like, what's wrong with you, man? You come for the audition, you do well, the casting director especially. Now what are we going to tell the producers? That their top choice doesn't want to do it? And why don't you want to do it? I actually landed 3 lead parts in films before Band Baja Bharat. And I turned them all down. Why? I don't know. Those films got made, those actors are actively working in Hindi films today. And I don't know, it was some kind of destiny. It could have been a foolish move, you know, because I landed 3 parts and they were proper, good budget. They were films. So the producers, I'd do the audition, I'd do a week long, I'd go back, and then 1 week later I'd be like, you know, I think I'll wait it out for something else. And they'd sit across me and they'd be like, are you crazy? You know, this is somebody in your position would give an arm and a leg for this. What is making you say no to this part in this moment? It just doesn't add up at all. I don't know. I don't have the answer. It might be destiny.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'll wait it out for something bigger. I'm just really grateful that that bigger opportunity came along. But those 3.5 years were, you had to believe in yourself because there were long periods of inactivity where you felt like it's not going to work out and your time's running out, and there was a lot of anxiety. Um, some people, are mean to struggling actors. I had those experiences as well. And I feel like those experiences forged me into a strong-willed human being. Um, and I've had my share of experiences. I remember going to this, and this person passed away prematurely. God rest his soul. But he was a bit mean to me. He was having a little powwow with his friends inside his house, and I had gone to meet him as a struggling actor, and I was sitting outside in his veranda with my portfolio in my hand, hoping to get a chance to meet him. And he wanted to have, I guess he was having a few beers, he was having some fun with his friends, and he he was like, oh, let's have some fun. And he unleashed his dog on me. And yeah, and I was running around his veranda being chased by this dog that was so big, I was petrified. Can you imagine? That's a bit mean. It's like, come on, let's have some fun. Tommy Choo. It's, it's actually happened to me. I've also experienced the casting couch, where this guy calls me to this like CD place of his, and he's like, so, can you imagine? He's like, are you a hard worker or a smart worker? So I said, I think because I didn't consider myself to be smart. So I was like, I think if I was given a choice, I would say I'm a hard worker. He's like, darling, be smart, be sexy. जो sexy है, जो smart है, वो आगे निकल जाता है. Basically, the smart and sexy ones make it in life. And I've had all kinds of those experiences those 3.5 years, and I think it is that period that makes me value the opportunities that I have today, because I never lose sight of those experiences. And when there was nothing and I was just trying to flap around and make something happen for myself. So keeping that as a foundation, today I have more value for my opportunities. I don't take it for granted, and I give it everything. I feel like I got this one great big blessing, like he says in Gully Boy, Bhagwan ne mere ko ye tohfa diya hai. This is being able to do what I love to do for a living is a blessing. It's a gift, and I value it so tremendously. I never lose sight of it, and that's why I just throw myself entirely into what I get to do. It's like, Priyanka Chopra, who was also one of my co-actors, who was honored here in Marrakesh. One day she told me, you know who you are? You're that kid who always is like, look, Ma, I made it. I'm an actor. Look. She's like, you have this thing about you. So yeah, I value my opportunities, and a large part of it has to do with those hard experiences.
Wow. So let's see another scene. Let's meet
Okay.
another character, Bajirao Mastani. You don't understand. I mean, you can feel it. You can still feel it. And you talked about goosebumps, and it's true. But what about the dialogue? I mean, when we see you perform, I think about the script, and I am wondering, was it written like that? Or did he rewrite it? Because we feel like you rewrite the dialogue and make it yours. What is your relationship with the dialogues?
I think it started around my fourth film. The one filmmaker who I've learned the most from and who's molded me as an artist, as an actor, is Mr. Sanjay Leela Bhansali, the director of Bajirao Mastani. Um, he really, he's molded me into the artist that I am today. I've learned so much about films, about life, about art from him. It was like I used to think I know a lot, I used to think I know about acting, I know about films. It's through him that I realized that I actually don't know anything. That this realm of creativity is limitless. That you can just keep exploring. There is no end to what you can create. There are no rules. You can make your own rules. There is no right. There is no wrong. And it was me before Sanjay Leela Bhansali and me after Sanjay Leela Bhansali. This was my second collaboration with him. In my first collaboration, Ram Leela in 2000, that's the one, where I fell in love with Deepika, adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, or Leela Chahe Ram. Uh, it was like art imitating life, life imitating art. We were falling in love, in that time when our characters were falling in love. It was crazy. Trust Mr. Sanjay Leela Bhansali to concoct this kind of art imitating life and life imitating art kind of magic. It's in Ram Leela where he started inviting my contribution to the scene. During blocking, he'd be like, okay, you know your character. Now you tell me what you do next. You do it. I'm not going to say anything. You know what the objective of this scene is, what we have to convey and communicate, which narrative beat it is. You all you actors, you go and just play. Just do whatever you feel like. And it was there that I really started contributing to the process. I was like, okay, okay, cool. I'm gonna, don't mind me, may I use you, ma'am? I'm gonna hold him like this, and I'm gonna say, no, you will not. And he's like, I love it, do it. And then we'd have the writer on the set, and they translate into the language, and that's how those scenes would come about. So it's there that I actually started contributing to the process. And in my movie that's going to come out in April, it's a romantic film by Mr. Karan Johar. Um, Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani, that's the one. I think it's reached a complete fruition. It's the most I've ever contributed to that writing process. Now I take what's on paper and I work on the character, and then, I find a line here or a line there or a line there that I can add to, which either adds to the texture most of the time, or to the character, or it's a link line. Sometimes, when a writer's writing in a room, they can't really imagine that once you're on your feet on the set blocking the scene, that there might be some things in the physical space, and for which you might need a line or two as a filler, as a link to kind of make it a complete scene. So starting with Ram Leela and progressing with every film after film, that's what I started doing. I started adding to the existing dialogue to add texture, to create a link that facilitates the physical blocking. And Rocky Rani is the most I've ever done. It's like I take the character and then just, it's the most I've contributed. And Karan was very astonished. He was like, you really have a knack for writing. I guess my side skill was writing, so it comes in handy. And yeah, I like to perform in that way, when a director gives you that freedom to say what you want, to do what you want. I did a movie, I did a cameo in a film called Suryavanshi as well. And when I landed up for my cameo, I was like, okay, sir, so tell me, what's the scene? He was like, bro, there is no scene. Okay, you've done this part before, you're reprising your role, you know the character, you say what you feel like instinctively in the moment. So it's very fulfilling for me to contribute to the process in that way. Hi, Lou. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lubna. She's a very special person in my life who's been following my life and my career, my filmography for 12 years now. And she's from Morocco. I never thought I'd come here and meet her in person. She's like my pen pal for 12 years. And this is the first time I'm meeting her in person. So please excuse me while... And she's the biggest cinephile. She always messages me, did you see this? Did you see that? I can't believe I'm meeting you in the flesh. It's a very special moment for me, guys. This,
Oh my
uh,
God.
this kind of love and this kind of connection is very rare. You make it all worth it, Lubna. Thank you for being here today. I can't believe I'm meeting you.
Wow. How can you go on like this? But this freedom with the directors, do you allow yourself
May
to,
I also say also criticizes my work, huh?
oh, you,
Yeah. She
she's a
doesn't
good
mince
friend.
words. She says it like it is. If it's good, she'll tell you. If it's bad, she'll tell you. And you're really an incredible moment for me. Thank you all for bearing with me. But Lubna, I I'm in disbelief. I never thought this would happen. Whew!
Wow. Let's stay with the emotion and let's go and see another scene. I mean, it's
Okay.
better than, yeah, it's better than
There's some good scenes,
talking.
huh?
It's amazing.
I love it. I love Hindi movies.
I mean, it's a fantasy for us. I mean, for the word, these dance moves and how much work does it represent? Because it seems easy, but all this precision and all this, like, how is it? How much work does it represent?
It really depends on the people that you're working with. Sometimes you get your it's like dialogues, right? Sometimes you get your choreography in advance. You can go to the rehearsal hall, take 7, 8, 10 days, 15 days sometimes if it's a complicated choreography. And then you go and rehearse and then you go and execute it on the set. Sometimes, like with Mr. Bhansali, he will create it there and then. You're on the set, and that's a unique process. He's creating there itself. He's like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try this? And he's inviting ideas from the choreographers and the performers. So all this stuff came up there and then. He's like, why don't you do this? Yeah, I like it. He's like, I like this. Do this. Yeah, I like it. So this is unique. Mr. Bhansali is unique in his process. But I'm not a trained dancer, but I have this theory about dance is that if you could you could be doing just about any the choreography is not what matters. It's really the feeling. You know, if you are enjoying the dance, if you do it with joy and abandon, then it will touch people's hearts. You know, people like enjoy seeing people enjoy themselves. So whilst I'm not a very technical dancer, I am an abandoned dancer. Um, I wish I had these. There are some of our performers, stellar dancers, absolutely some of the best in the world. Mr. Hrithik Roshan, Tiger Shroff, they're amazing. You know, you watch them and you're left awe-inspired. It's like, wow, man, these are some real moves. You know, there's like Tiger is a friend of mine, and he seeks inspiration from Michael Jackson. You know, those moves. I can't do all that, but I have a huge admiration and respect for it. There is that kind of dance, and then there's another kind of dance. You know, like there was a choreographer who was theorizing with me, and he said there's one kind of dancer where you sit and you watch and you clap. You are the kind of dancer, when you dance, the person doesn't want to sit and watch you and clap. The person wants to get up and start dancing with you. And I thought that was a lovely thought. So yeah, I know, and my wife keeps telling me as well. She's like, just, just forget about the shot, the moves, the choreography. We did a song together recently, and she was like, "Man, just forget about it. Forget about all those technical aspects. Just enjoy yourself, dance with joy and abandon, and see the magic that it creates."
Wow. And from the romance to the comedy, let's meet Simba.
Oh, my favorite.
रात भर अगर जागना भी पड़े तो क्या?
I mean, this character shows another side of yours, the comedy. How do you feel comfortable in comedy, in romance? Padmavat is more like dark. Do you feel like drama, comedy, or romance?
I think comedy is by far the most difficult. It's like in order for that humor to land, it's like if you see the target, you have to hit the bullseye. A little left, a little right, it won't land. So it's something that you can't really learn it, you can't really overthink it. You just have to. It's just a question of this very precarious timing, and I'm doing now a comedy. It's coming out in December, Circus with Mr. Rohit Shetty, and it's got all the comedy all stars of Hindi cinema: Johnny Lever, Sanjay Mishra. It's I've learned so much from them because that kind of timing comes so naturally to them. So learning from the senior comic actors was a great learning curve for me. Um, though I will admit that it's the most difficult. With the drama, it's very straight. Those are, what the feeling is, and there are different ways to play it. With comedy, there's really only just one way to land that moment than that humor. So I find comedy to be far more difficult than the other genres. I would say the hardest is stand-up comics. It's I recognize how difficult it is to do that, to stand there for an hour, 2 hours. You know, it's the most. It's like one of the most difficult things to do is stand-up comedy. Comedy by far is, for me personally, I don't know how it is for other actors, but I will tell you, it's the most difficult to do.
Uh, and is it easier today to be Ranveer Singh on a set, or do you feel more pressure than before?
I think it's easier now because earlier I didn't know what what part of this process is important. Which part of this process do I need to engage with? Which part of this process needs my time, energy, bandwidth? Now I'm a more efficient actor, so it's easier. Oftentimes, I'll leave the trailer and it's like I've got blinkers on. I don't. I conserve my energy. I don't expend it where it doesn't need to be expended, and I focus my energy in the only place that it needs to be. I conserve myself for that time between action and cut where you ought to be at your faculties ought to be at optimum. I learned this from a senior actor, Mr. Anil Kapoor. We did a film called Dil Dhadakne Do, and between shots, he'd always go back to his trailer and he'd be in the Shavasana pose, you know, the and it was a concept and that he came up with that I used to be like, sir, kahan ja rahe ho? Where are you going? He used to be like, conserve, 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 conserve. So it was, and I thought it was a brilliant thing because you conserve your energies and you only unleash it when it needs to be done, like between action and cut. I think that's something that's really worked for me over the years.
So let's meet another character, a
Oh,
beautiful one.
I'm loving this.
Yeah, a beautiful soul, goody boy. You all know it. I mean, you have to tell us. How did you work this part? I mean, did you know how to rap before, or did you learn? Because it seems so natural. I mean,
It was a side skill that I was really happy that Zoya was going to come to me with a part where I could showcase one of the side skills. I was, and I'll tell you how it happened. I was a little bit of a chubby kid. So whenever I'd go out and play with the other kids, they'd always ridicule me because I was slower in running, and I wasn't the most athletic kid. So I would kind of be reluctant to go outside, and I'd be sitting in front of the idiot box all day. I just watched television. MTV had just come to India. Cable television had just come to India, and I was just fascinated. So I'd watch endless hours of television and music television. And at the time, Tupac and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Notorious B.I.G. and all these guys were the hot artists of the time. And I really took that's where I got into hip hop. And so I used to I used to learn up all the lyrics so I could rap along with those songs. So I've been into hip hop from a very young age. I was shooting in Paris for Befikre. Zoya came over to meet me, and she showed me a video on YouTube of Mere Gali Mein, a rap track done by Divine and Nazy. It was an eye opener for me. I was like, wow, this is incredible. These guys are from the streets of Mumbai. They're rapping in Mumbai slang. It blew my mind. She showed me that 2.5, 3 minute video, and she was like, this is the world of the film that I want to make. I want to make a story about a kid who wants to make it uh, as a rapper, rise above his lot, and try and break through as an artist in spite of being disenfranchised. And I was all for it. There was a big question mark, however. Are you going to rap yourself, or is somebody going to voice? Oftentimes people who aren't familiar with the film culture, in India, you show them a video, let's say perhaps of another film where playback singing has been done, and their first question is like, are you also singing? Is that your voice? Sometimes you're a bit mischievous and you're like, yeah, it's my voice. Huh? It's like, it's not really. You all should know that playback singing is a concept in Hindi films where it's actually somebody else singing. So if I was going to voice in the instance of Gully Boy my own voice for the rap, I would have to prove that I can do it. Zoya called me into the studio, and Ankur, the music supervisor, was there, and it was like my big test. They're like, is he going to be able to rap? And I was like, Zoya, I I will rap. I'm not going to have it any other way. You have to let me do this. She was like, oh, I'll let you do it if you're any good. So she came to the studio and she tested me out. And I must have spit out one verse, and she was like, oh, let's do it. It's on, baby boy, let's go. And then that was it. I voiced for 2 or 3 songs on the album, 4 songs. And yeah, I'm really glad that one of my little side skills got to be showcased in this manner.
Wow. And you seem to be able to play almost everything, but do you think that you can play everything, every single role, or are there limits? What are your limits?
I just believe the realm of creativity is limitless. I think there is no end to how much you can explore. There is no end to how much you can try and present yourself in some different way. You change the way you look, the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you express with your facial muscles, what kind of moments you can create through what kind of choices. It's absolutely limitless. And it depends. Like, I watch actors like Daniel Day-Lewis, the amount of work that they put into one character. It's astonishing. I watched 2 of his parts. I can hardly believe that it's the same person. And that's the kind of artist that I aspire to be, where you pick any 2 roles, and you shouldn't be able to, you should be like, is that the same person? I can hardly believe it's the same person. For me, that has value. That kind of versatility in one's repertoire has immense value. That's the kind of artist I've tried to be, and hopefully do more parts. Sometimes I wonder, is my bag of tricks going to run out? I sometimes I rewatch my films and I try and catch expressions that I've done before in some character. I'm very happy to submit to you all that it's not too bad. I'm still coming up with new stuff. I was very relieved to see that. In fact, in conversation with some of my peers, some of my eminent peers, we're discussing academically with one another, and we're wondering, when does that bag of tricks run out? Is it only that finite amount of expressions? Is it? I guess we'll find out as we go. But I watched a movie that I did recently, Jayesh Bhai, and I was watching the movie. I was like, this is good, yeah. I've not seen this kind of body language and expressions. I've not seen myself do it before. So till my last installment, I'm on a good wicket, and I hope that I can keep learning and accumulating life experiences to put into characters and portrayals, so that I keep coming up with something new and something fresh. And it's those actors, those chameleon like actors. There is one who is gracing Marrakesh this week. I think I'm going to meet her today. I'm very excited to meet Tilda Swinton, you know. Um, what an incredible thing it would be for me to meet somebody whose work I respect so much. And it's because she also has that chameleon like quality. She looks different, she feels different, she can bring that kind of versatility in her work. That kind of chameleon like quality in an actor I find to be extremely attractive.
And I think we're going to ask ourselves the same question you were asking about Daniel Day-Lewis with the character that I'm going to present in Padmavat. It's like, who's this guy?
Ooh, here comes the bad man.
Scary.
Ooh. Oh, bad man.
Where does this
That's one
darkness?
of Lubna's favorite characters, by the way. Yeah.
It's true, actually. It's
Lubna
like,
loves bad boys.
but how do you? Where does this darkness come from? I mean, and how do you preserve yourself from your characters? Because you seem to be given so much, but I mean, how do you preserve Ranveer?
This was a bit harmful, this character. I can't say I made healthy choices in this process. Um, I was just exploring. As you go along, you find more efficient ways to create effect. I'll take you back to my third film, Lutera. I, I was so raw at the time, and I lacked the tools um, that were required for an actor to create that effect. So the second half of Lutera, my character walks around with a gunshot wound in his hip. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I've never really experienced that degree of pain before. So let me kind of recreate or generate it. So what I used to do was take these very industrial grade clips, and I used to clip my hip in the morning, and I'd get into hair makeup, and we'd travel to set, and I'd reach the set, and this clip is on, and it's collecting all of this blood over here, and it's very tender, and I need your help. Okay, I'm going to show you how I used to perform that part. You just have to be like, okay, sir, you ready? Yes. Roll camera, action. That's you. Okay.
Action.
So now remember that the clip has been here it's been clipped up for 2 hours, 3 hours, and now I'm ready for the shot.
Okay, roll the camera. Action. No, roll the camera. Okay. Roll the camera.
I used to hit it, and that whole pain used to go, I used to go from the tip of my toe to the top of my head, and I'd just be like, oh. I was actually recreating that degree of physical pain because I didn't know how else to do it. But over a period of time, it's that famous Laurence Olivier line that he told Dustin Hoffman. He's like, son, why don't you try and act, instead of doing all these crazy things. And that was then. I was very raw. Even as even in trying to create Khilji, um, I was trying to. I couldn't wrap my head around a person who, allegedly commissioned genocide, who the kind of things I'd read about, the kind of things that this guy did it's unimaginable to me. How do I play that with conviction? Um, they say that he killed 30,000 soldiers, and he made a giant pillar of all their skulls to deter people, invaders, from coming back down that path again. I was like, how do I get into the mindset of a guy who has perpetrated these sorts of things? It's unimaginable to me. So I would read about the life and times of tyrants, things that they've allegedly done. I was reading about Vlad the Impaler, and I was watching Lars von Trier's films, and I was listening to Christoph Penderecki's soundtracks from The Shining, and I had this little cave that I had made, little in a suburb. I had picked up an apartment, and I locked myself in that apartment for the longest amount of time, and I was only engaging with these very dark and disturbing themes. You know, I watched Nymphomaniac 1 and 2 back to back. You know, I'd shut the lights, all the lights in the house, and I'd play the Shining soundtrack and walk around and try and feel the music. And I was doing all kinds of crazy things to kind of get in touch with whatever darkness there might be residing in me. I believe everybody has a little bit of darkness in them, but to tap into it, I was engaging with dark, thematically dark music and text and film. And you do that from morning to night around the clock for long enough, then you can become an animal, a monster like that.
Yes. But
You know something Lubna pointed out to me, and she's always writing to me about my work, and I'm always looking forward to her insights. She sent me. I only realized, Lubna, and you don't know this either, is that the Kubrick stare was not something I had planned. You know, I did the character development, and I realized that it's only after the movie came out and she saw it and she was like, "Do you realize you did the Kubrick stare?" I was like, "What is the Kubrick stare?" And then she sent me pictures of various actors doing the Kubrick stare. Kubrick's characters are quite dark. Yeah.
messy.
And they all have this thing that's theorized as the Kubrick square. It's this. Malcolm McDowell and everybody, and I saw those pictures. I was like, you know what? I didn't plan that, but processing my being uh, has led to this. So I guess there is a reason why several of Kubrick's actors would have that kind of stare. I did it not realizing I was doing it. Thank you for that insight. And yeah, it was a very tough period for me because I had also changed my diet. I felt like if I need to become like this person, I should probably also start with the gut. I wanted to change everything about me, so I started eating different as well. My diet was red meat in the morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Yeah, I was sweating mutton. It wasn't pretty. And it really, I feel like it made me a very aggressive person, you know, and I would react to people differently. I would engage people differently. So in the months that I was playing this character, I don't think I was a very pleasant person to be around. But my gratitude to everybody who put up with me through that process, it created something that I can be proud of.
Yeah, of course, you can be proud of and you can applaud. Thank you, the audience. Thank you for being so
Thank
amazing
you.
today. Thank you, RANVEER.
Thank you. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da-da, ta-da-da, ta-da-da. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you for being with me, and it's been lovely, lovely to meet you. Thank you all. Thank you very, very, very much.